Welcome to another episode of the Media Mandem podcast YouTube channel thingamajiggy bob. Thank you for coming back again to listen to another episode of me, Junior, just talking about stuff. It's not quite a review this time, as you probably could tell from the thumbnail. This is a retrospective, so just a look back on one of my favourite films, and me kind of going into why I like it so much. I might go a little bit more film studenty, media students styly on this, so please bear with me. Like I mentioned before in my Thunderbolts review, if you haven't watched that, by the way, I will leave the link to that video in the description for this one, so you can have a look. Unlike that video though, I will be, yes, like I said, going a little bit more in depth in terms of what kind of builds up this film and why I like it so much. The film itself, of course, you should probably already be able to tell because of the thumbnail, is The Red Turtle. It made its debut at the Cannes Film Festival in 2016, which is insane because now this film's almost 10 years old. But I think it premiered internationally in 2017. That was the year that me and a good friend of mine went to go and see it. He's much a cinephile like I am, and he's like, oh, you know, there's this French film, like, do you want to go and see it? And I was like, and he was like, oh, it's like an animated film, and I was like, and then he was like, oh, Studio Ghibli are part of the production. I was like, say less, my G, say less, my G. So we went to I think it's the French Institute in central London, and it was really cool because there was the actual director. He's Dutch though, called Michael Dudok de Wit. I am pretty sure I butchered that name because it's not the English pronunciations for any of those names, but anywho, I don't speak French, you know. I'm not that guy. I took Spanish in secondary school, not French, so I don't know how to pronounce French words. But this was his feature-length debut, an animated debut. And as mentioned before, it was a co-production with Studio Ghibli. I say Ghibli. I know some people say Ghibli. I say Ghibli. I used to be like really, really annoyed when people said Ghibli, but you know what? To each their own. If you want to say it like that, it's up to you. There are some words I can't forgive some pronunciations for, but Ghibli is fine. I say Ghibli. Anyway, they partnered with the main studios who made the film, two French studios called Wild Bunch and Belle Vision. I would assume that's probably Belle Vision, but I don't know. Why do I love this film? Let's just jump straight into it. We're going to break it down. One of the main things I really love about the film is the plot / narrative itself. Essentially, this retrospective will have quite a lot of spoilers in it, but I still suggest you watch this film because watching it yourself will give you a very unique emotional journey and response that you can't have just hearing me talk about it. You need to experience it for yourself, and I suggest that you experience it for yourself because you can listen to a review of something and get a feel for what the film might be like or what the text might be like, but experiencing it for yourself will then have your heart be involved in it as opposed to just your mind, which will take it to a whole nother level. So jumping straight into it, as I was mentioning with the narrative and with the plot, essentially it's about a man who is shipwrecked on a desert island, and he, in his attempts to leave said island, he comes into contact with a red turtle who prevents him from leaving, and eventually he ends up getting the turtle onto the island, and then the turtle turns into a woman. Arguably it was already a woman, just within the turtle. The film doesn't explain it, and you don't even worry about it, you just accept it. But after that point, we then begin to see them, and this is the whole kind of crux of the film essentially, is they build a life together on the island, and we get to watch that life play out, and that's the film in a nutshell. But it explores these wonderful themes about life, about death, about growth as a person, learning to adapt, learning to be able to become not only content with your surroundings, but become truly happy, and what that true happiness actually looks like, what it involves, as well as what true love involves, how that can manifest in this very specific location, which is really, really lovely. Like I said before, it speaks about love, but also not just between a man and a woman, but also parents and their children as well, which is all explored without any dialogue. There are no words in the there's no conversation. You get the odd hey, like the guy will be like hey when he sees like the red turtle, or he sees the woman, or he is like looking out across the beach early on in the film when he's trying to leave, and he that's it. There's no like, oh hello, how are you, oh I'm good. There's none of that. So it's very limited, not virtually non-existent dialogue, shall we say. Speaking of though, I think that's a wonderful technique for storytelling, because it allows the music and the animation to take to come to the forefront and really be the thing that depends, or that the audience depend upon to help tell the story, to carry the narrative, if you will. And I think it's an absolute triumph in that regard. There's so many wonderful moments, music wise, sound design wise, that it's absolutely tantalizing, so tasty. There's a really wonderful scene where he's exploring the island for the first time, and he falls into like a hole where he basically can't get out. He's falling, it's like a cave basically, and the only way to get out is to swim out underneath the water. So he starts swimming, and he almost gets caught in like a hole, and he's like trying to push himself out, and the tension starts to build. Like you're like, oh no, like I'm panicking. And the way the music kind of carries that moment helps you to feel those emotions, that tension, that panic, that anxiety at the same time that he is, I should say. So when he does get out and the music then relieves and relaxes, you're like, oh, whew. It really carries the emotions. It's not in a way that it's like, this is what you must feel because we're telling you to, but it helps you to kind of transport you more deeply into what's happening in the film without the use of the words. The animation style is really lovely too. It's very reminiscent of Tintin, if anyone's familiar with those cartoons / comics. It's really nice. It's got a really beautiful blend of hand-drawn and 3D and digital art techniques that just create the setting itself, the island, is beautiful. There are so many wonderful uses of colour, orange, green, blue, and even grey and white are used really, really well, especially in the night shots, where the moon illuminates the sky, but also the island itself. And because of the pale light that it produces, well, technically, scientifically it's not producing light, it's reflecting it, but anyway, we won't go into that. But it creates this wonderful scene where it feels like the island, of course it's alive, but it feels like a character in that regard. So yeah, that's a really wonderful thing. Like, I just think the film's it's just tasty, bro. I don't know what else to really say there, but we're gonna keep going. One of the things I really, really love about the film is the sense of scale as well. It's very small. The film, in the beginning, I remember when me and my friend went to go and see it, and I thought he was going to escape the island, but he was going to meet this red turtle thing, and then like it would help him leave, but that doesn't happen. The whole film takes place on this island, but what's really lovely is as we see his life play out on the island, we ourselves as the audience become content with just being here, and you see his character begin to just go, okay, I accept that I'm here now, rather than trying to escape or leave. I'm going to settle and make my life here. And then we get to see that play out, and it's just really wonderful because, as was mentioned before with the themes of growth and progression and love and all those things. We get to see all of that play out. They start as a couple, and then they grow so deeply connected, have such a deep bond of love between each other, that when they have a child, it's not that surprising. And then they shower the same love onto him, and the whole time you're watching it, you're like, yeah, these two people clearly love this boy so much. They give him all that they can. They teach him all that they can. They equipped him with all the things that they feel they can as parents, so that when we see this, one of my favourite scenes in the entire film, where the son, he's grown up now, he's probably a young adult, late teens, he's starting to dream of leaving, of creating his own life outside of the island, and he's always sees these turtles coming near the island and kind of almost calling to him to follow them. And there's these wonderful scenes where he imagines himself swimming with them, and he swims like the turtles do. And the one day he walks out to the coast, and he looks out the water, and then the water just climbs up like a huge tidal wave. But it just sits there, and he just looks at it as it's almost like a wall, a veil, if you will. And he looks at it, and it's kind of like, oh, I have to go past this to be able to go to where I want to go, which is the world out there. I don't know what's out there beyond the horizon, but I want to find out. But before he does that, he swims to the top of this wall of water, and he looks out onto the island, and he sees his parents walking on the beach, as they always do. We see them do that a lot in the film. It's clearly something that they share together as a moment to just feel in each other's presence. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be this unique experience, but it's just this wonderful thing that they share together as a couple. And you see them walking, and then they stop, and they see him at the top of the wall, and his dad waves to him. Mom's like, everything okay there, son? Like, hi, how are you? And he just watches them, and it's this wonderful moment where I'm sure as people who are old enough, who have felt like, I love my family, I love where I live, I love my surroundings, but I want to go out and see the world. I want to go out and explore. I want to go out and see what's out there. This film, in a very short amount of time, helps you to feel those feelings through this particular character, so that when his parents do let him leave, it's bittersweet, because we're happy to see him go out, and we don't know where he goes. This film never shows us, but it's lovely to see that moment that a lot of parents who would probably watch that film can relate to, and children can also relate to, who are old enough to be at that point of their life. It's a really wonderful moment in the film, after you've seen a long kind of build up of them raising him. All these wonderful moments where he's been taught by his mum and dad how to swim, and how to hunt, and how to grow this, and how to do this, and how to do that, and yeah, it's just really, really lovely. That then means, obviously, with the theme of life, death must also follow, unfortunately. But that scene is so wonderfully done in this film. I remember the first time I saw it, being a man, I watched it and I was like, this is really sad, but I'm not gonna cry. And then I was like, because we were in a cinema with all these other people, I'm like, I ain't out here crying in front of these people, you can forget it. And then I watched it at home on my own. Man was bawling like a little baby at that point. I was like, nah, it was too much. It's not because it's like overwhelmingly sad. It's just so bittersweet, because we've seen this man live his life up to this point, and he has this wonderful growth, as was mentioned, where he was like, I need to leave, I need to get out of here, to, do you know what, there is no other place I'd rather be. There's this wonderful scene once again, just before that, where him and his wife have grown older now. They're walking on the beach as they always do, and the sun is setting, and they've become old and grey, and it's this wonderful moment of showing contentment, where they're just dancing together on the beach. Obviously there's no music, there's no one around, but they're just so happy to be with each other. It's just this wonderful representation of what could be love between two people. It cuts to, or it changes to the scene of at night again, like I mentioned, illuminating the island, and they're sleeping on the beach, and he's lying there, and I'm getting emotional just trying to tell you the scene, and he looks out into the horizon, and the moon's, you know, doing its thing, and he's just looking out, and he just slowly closes his eyes, and how can I say it? And that's it, you know. But at that moment, the few moments we see him just looking out, and it cuts from him looking out, and it cuts to the horizon with the moon and everything, and the stars and the serene, calm waves. And then it cuts to them sleeping on the beach, and cuts back to him looking out, and he just closes his eyes, and it's kind of like, you don't see the last breath, but you can feel it's there, and you know at that moment that he was thinking to himself, this was a good life. I've lived a happy life. I've done everything that I in life that I would want to do. I've done it. I've found true love. I've, you know, been able to see the wonders of creation through having a son, and I helped to make him into a man, and then we let him go off and be that man that we helped him to become. And now I get to spend whatever's left of my life with the woman I love, and I'm happy. There was no regret. There was no, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. And it's such a wonderful scene, because it's something that I think a lot of people will be able to resonate with, because it's like, I wish I could have that kind of life, where you look back on it and you go, do you know what, everything was worth it in the end, because I got to have this moment. And yeah, it's just a wonderful film. It's so beautiful. That for me was what kind of sealed why I loved that film, because it was one of these animation films where I was like, it looked great. It had this really unique draw or hook to it, with the, you know, the non-dialogue and everything, but then the emotions it carries you through is so wonderful. Almost having this kind of fast track view of someone's life, but what a beautiful life that he lives, and you get to see it, and that's why I love this film. It's why it became quickly one of my favourite films. And after I watched it, I was like, everybody need to go watch Red Tail. I showed it to my family, and my mom and some of my sisters can be quite critical, if I'm just honest. If they don't like something, they'll let you know, and they all loved it. They were like, this film, they cried too. They were like, this is so sad, but it's like a bittersweet sadness. My mum was crying a bit, and she's like, why did that have to happen? And it wasn't like it was like, oh, you know, sad time. She was just like, it would have been nicer to just not see that, because it just makes me feel sad that he has to go. And this is someone you've only been spending an hour and, well, less than 2 hours with in film time, in real time, but you feel that level of connection with his character, and there are no words, you know. It's such a wonderful demonstration of the power of storytelling. And I could keep talking about that for an hour and an hour and an hour, but I'm going to stop there. And I also managed to hold back from crying. I probably did it once I turned the microphone off. But thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. You can probably tell, there are no scripts here. I should probably start writing scripts for videos, then I can be more concise and less waffly. But I don't want to. That's the truth of it. It's too long. I can't be bothered. Even I can't be bothered to use something like ChatGPT to write a script for me. I'll just talk. It's better. Thank you so much. Like I said, I've already said it, but I'll say it again. You can never say thank you too much. There's always something to be thankful for, isn't there? Anyway, that's kind of the end of the episode, isn't it? I'm glad that you were able to listen to me for as long as you did. If you fell asleep during it, that's fine. You can think of it as one of those videos on YouTube that you put on like at night time to help you go to sleep. It's like white noise, but me talking instead. Junior noise, we can use it. We can call it. I should patent that or coin that, trademark that phrase before someone tries to steal it. Do you have any of your favourite films that have made you go through that kind of emotional roller coaster? You know, the ups and the downs and the highs and the lows, and characters that you really felt connected to emotionally on some level, whether they have a mirroring of parts of your life, the character that they embody feels like someone that you can relate to, or other things that you really liked about a lot of characters. What's some of your favourite kind of animated films? Let me know in the comment section. And as we always do with every YouTube video in existence nowadays, isn't it, who actually wants people to follow them, share, subscribe, like, all of that stuff. And I don't know what I'll do in the next video. We keep talking about our introductions, mentioning about gaming, or maybe I'll do something about gaming. We shall see. But thank you so much. Take care, and I'll see you later.